Evening all, and welcome to another peek at the future. This one for the 26th of January 2015. We're going to be looking at the vehicle secondary gun changes. That's the Enforcer, Sauron, PPA and Marauder. Some changes to Koltyr, VS and NC texture coverage changes. And we're going to have a small talk about the max ability and weapon changes. So, the vehicle secondary gun changes. First we've got the Enforcer. Now, this is the second run through of these changes on PTS. They were initially very OP in terms of the Enforcer and a few other things. Now they're only, mildly OP. This Enforcer on Harasser is just a 4-shot kill with a max. It's 4 direct hits, of course, but just 2 hits on infantry. It's really quite powerful. There is some arc on it, but it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Even firing long distances, really not a problem with this at all. This is a very, very effective gun if it goes live in its current state. Keep in mind I am in a stationary vehicle, firing at stationary targets as well, so it's not quite this easy to drop infantry, but yeah, if I was TR or VS, I'd be worried about this. That's a half health Sunder you can see on the screen there. Also, notice how it reloads. There's only 4 shots in the magazine, but you can fire as soon as the next one's loaded. So we're in the Vanguard now. Best case scenario is firing at the back of the Mag Rider, and you can see we tear through that. And then we need 1 extra shot, but it's okay because as soon as the next shot's loaded you can fire again. You can see at infantry, very easy to hit at range. There really doesn't feel like much bloom at all in the shots when you fire them. Keep in mind this is a secondary gun as well, that's not the primary weapon of that vehicle. So next we have the Sauron on the Harasser. As you can see, this is brilliant at long range. There's no drop of any kind, and as long as you pay attention to firing single shots or giving it a second just to rest, you can be incredibly accurate at long range. Of course, this is heat mechanic as well, so as long as you don't fire rapidly, you can fire effectively forever. So this is now front armor on the Vanguard. You can see you fire in sort of 4 or 5 shot bursts, as long as you're not too rapid with them. The heat doesn't get too much. But there I just hit the heat limit and have to wait, of course, for it to go all the way down again before I can restart firing. This is the back of a Prowler. 13 shots to kill that Prowler there. And quite a lot fewer than 13 to kill that Harasser. It's not got much splash, but if you're accurate against infantry, this is a very effective weapon. And now the Sauron on a Mag Rider. Saw someone on Reddit saying that they missed the kind of rolling bolt action feel of the Sauron. Well, as long as you fire at that sort of pace, you can effectively fire forever with this thing. So it's not really bolt action, it's more semi-auto now. But that's a Sauron at distance, destroying a Vanguard. 3 hit kills on infantry as well. It felt like 6 or 7 on maxes. You can see it absolutely tear through that Harasser there. But if you burst it too fast, the bloom really kicks in, and then you're not so accurate at long distance. So with the Sauron, if you're too ambitious with firing, that bloom's really going to hurt you. Not only in terms of heat, but also in terms of the bloom it creates. So the PPA I think VS will be very happy with this if it goes live in its current state. And everyone else will be complaining about PPA again, which is of course what Reddit's for. This of course has a heat mechanic as well now, but allows effectively to fire as fast as you want, as long as you do it in bursts, and it's fully upgraded. It's very, very manageable. You can see I can suppress a whole group of infantry here. Clearly again, they're not moving or anything, but I can suppress 4 or 5 people with this. There's not quite this splash there used to be, but it's highly effective now. I think we'll be seeing VS take advantage of this if it rolls out live in this condition. Plus of course there's no drop in the projectiles, so firing at distance, not a problem. There's a bit of cone bloom that you can see, but I didn't find it that much of an issue. You're managing heat at the same time as well, so you get used to firing bursts quite quickly. Also with it firing so fast, the bloom doesn't rise that fast, so I find it really not that much of an issue. Also keep in mind, this is obviously the VR zone on PTS, so no one's running max nanoweave or max flak or whatever. Finally we have the Marauder, which at this close range is very, very effective. It now fires a 2-shot burst, which is slightly strange to use initially, but you get used to compensating for that. You can be really quite accurate up to a distance. It's quite a bit more difficult to use than the other Empire's variants of this. It also blooms quite substantially when you fire it. I find this great at short range and then really difficult at long range. If I'm honest, I'd say this is about right for going live, whereas the NC and VS equivalents of this weapon are pretty overpowered in comparison. Whether or not you think the Vulcan makes up for this, well, we'll see. You can see that Reaver gets absolutely destroyed with that, but the drop-off is so severe that that's not going to really be an issue when combating aircraft. It's only ones on the ground, I think, that you're really going to get reliable shots on. Also, the Marauder on the Prowler doesn't use a different sound. I don't know if that's a PTS thing or there's going to be a different sound on full rollout, but VS and NC both have slightly different sounds for their weapons on the main battle tanks. It'd be nice to see TR get the same. And here we have the Vulcan. It's got a bit of a bloom buff. It doesn't bloom quite as much as it did, and as such is even more effective. Do you find it slightly weird that a gun that can tear through tanks takes so long to kill infantry? It doesn't sort of make sense in my head, but for balance reasons, sure. Vanguards aren't really an issue for it. It does take quite a while to kill the mechs though. And you see how fast it hit that Harasser there. So the bloom's quite a bit more controlled now. NC might want to look away as well, because we pointed at a Reaver in a second, and you're probably not going to like what you see. So in a time when we're not getting many new content updates, I think things are keeping fresh with these balance changes. Feels like the game is still moving forward, even if it isn't brand new content coming in all the time. But focus on PS4 and more money in the game. I think in the long run it'll be good for Planetside. And finally that Reaver I talked about. Yeah, that was about half a magazine. Took down the Reaver. So, onto some Koltyr changes. Keep these reasonably brief, as really it's not going to be a general playground for most of us, I think. But things are looking more fleshed out, almost day by day now on Koltyr. We take a quick look at what it used to look like. And the first time it rolled out on PTS, you can see it was quite barren. Now, a lot of trees, a lot of other sort of small props and things going around. Bases are more fleshed out. Some interesting things going on. Can't help thinking that some of these bases are now a bit better than what we have on live, but I suppose that's the case with newer bases being designed all the time. I'm told by Multioon on Twitter that this is about a week old as well, so this isn't even the up-to-date version of Koltyr, but it's the one that's on PTS currently. Presume this is a big push for PlayStation 4, new player experience and all. Main structure of the continent is the same, kind of three-pronged affair, but that kind of barren feeling's gone now. Things like these walkways are much more protected. I think that's a new prop actually. It's a 2-layer shield, and also the underside of that bridge looks a bit new as well. So I think this is some new models. I don't recall seeing this stuff on live. These barrel crates, I guess you call them. I don't think I've ever seen those before. So you can actually shoot through them as well. First time I've seen stairs get protection like that. Maybe this is an indicator of what we're going to be seeing as new bases roll out to live. I think these bridge supports are new as well. I don't recall those being on live either. But we're seeing sort of small texture changes. I think those arches are different. I think this is perhaps an indication of what the new art director's been working on. So finally on Koltyr, let's take a drive around. See how it feels on ground level. The answer is quite substantially different. Those plateaus and flat plains that kind of reminded me of old Esamir really. They've disappeared. So finally we look at the texture changes for NC and VS. I see from tweets that TR is being worked on. So on the left side you can see what's currently on live, and on the right side you can see what's up on PTS. First we have Infiltrator, Light Assault, now Combat Medic, Engineer, Heavy Assault, and of course Max. And for VS the same. Again, Infiltrator, Light Assault, Medic, Engineer, Heavy Assault, and Max. So I wanted to have a quick chat about the max ability and weapon changes. You may be thinking, well, just like, why haven't you been on PTS and checked those out? Honestly, because it's the first raft of changes. With regards to the vehicle ones, they then changed very quickly based on a PTS event where a bunch of people went on and all tried them out, and then Higby and his team changed those dies again. I expect the values for the maxes to change fairly quickly. But what I have done is I've looked at the lockdown for the TR max. Going into lockdown mode has now been reduced from 2 seconds to 1 second. You can see on screen, it doesn't stop you moving, you still have to actually come to a halt and then press F. But that animation does play quite fast now, giving the TR max a bit more offensive capability. Of course you're still rooted to the ground, so if you need to move in a hurry, you can't. Whether or not this actually makes TR maxes become more offensive, I don't know. I think the issue is then you're locked to the ground, you're essentially a turret at this point. So a stray grenade, you're not going to get out of the way. But an unintended bonus for everyone, if anyone wants to do a Michael Jackson Thriller parody video, well, this is now perfect. The animation now plays in a slightly comedic fashion. TR max squat now has a urgent rush to it, shall we say. So thank you very much for watching this peek at the future. If you enjoyed it, why not hit that subscribe button? If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, or just random things buzzing around your head, best to get them out in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, take care.